Hey guys, it's story time, episode 9. And today we're going to be reading out of the classic children's Bible storybook. And today's story is A Huge Flood, which is a true story. All these stories in this book is true. And, so we know about this, like Noah makes the ark because God told him to, so that way all the animals and his family would be safe. And here's the pictures. And Stimpy Jr. is right here. Hopefully you could see him. But anyways, I fixed it where he could, where you guys could see Stimpy Jr. So I'm going to start reading. It's a very short story, so let's do this. A huge flood, Genesis chapter 7, verse 1 through 24. So Noah did everything as the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood covered the earth. He went on board the boat to escape the flood. He and his wife and his sons and their wives with them were all the various kinds of animals, those approved for eating and the sacrifice, and those that were not, along with all the birds and the small animals that scurry along the ground. Genesis chapter 7, verse 5 through 8. After the huge boat was completed, God told Noah that it was time for him and his family and all those animals and birds to go on board. This must have been a strange sight in the bystanders. Imagine Noah herding all those animals together and leading them on board. Then Noah's children and their families boarded the ark. That was what Noah called his boat. 7 days later, it began to rain. It rained for days, for weeks, for 40 solid days it rained and rained. It simply rained non-stop. The water level rose steadily until this ark that was built on dry land was floating. There was water everywhere. But Noah, his family, and the various animals in the ark were safe. All the people who had mocked Noah and who had abandoned God could not find shelter. What a pity that they did not seek shelter in God. Everything was swept away from the face of the earth. People, animals, plants, all except for Noah and his family who followed God's instructions. They were safe and sound in the enormous boat, gently floating on the waters. And, that's just explaining, once he built the ark, he waited on God until, God flooded the earth, because, all the people there at that time was not doing what God wanted him to do, and doing all these hateful things and thinking all these bad things, that the devil's put in them. And God said, I wish that I never made you. So he's gonna just destroy everybody. But he found favor, he liked Noah, and Noah wanted to do everything for him, and God said build himself an ark for all his family and animals and all that, and maybe his friends, the ones that would accept, I guess. But then once the ark was finished, God flooded the earth, and let the boat rise up and move towards the land, well, to new land, then the water just went down. Then there was really like a new planet, because the only ones that was there was Noah and his family and their wives. And so yeah, and God does the right things. He will never hurt nobody. He'd never do nothing bad to nobody, and that's for sure. God knows what to do and how to do it. So yeah, if you like this video, please give a big thumbs up. Please like, subscribe, or comment below. Don't forget, Jesus saves. And before I stop the video, next week's story time episode will be about after the storm, and that's Noah and all the animals. That's what happens. It tells what happens after the storm. So yeah, and it rained 40 days, 40 nights, and they was there for 40 days and 40 nights, and then everything got good. And so yeah, and God bless.